America has a problem with relying on the 401k system as a retirement method. Because anytime there's a market crash like we're currently experiencing, there's hundreds of thousands of people who are on the brink of retirement that are no longer able to retire because their accounts have basically been wiped out. They no longer have the funds in order to sustain themselves through retirement. They're forced with having to work another couple of years at least to get back some of the gains that they previously had over the last couple of years. I think there's been a lot of people who are looking at the market and seeing it go up and up and up over the last 5 to 10 years as they've approached the retirement age, and they've thought, hey, this is great, I'm going to be able to retire next year until an event happens just like this. And these are for the people who actually have enough in their 401k in the first place to actually retire. This isn't accounting for all of those people who only have maybe $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 in their account. These people, they're forced with the reality of having to work for possibly the rest of their lives. Many of these people will never be able to retire because a 401k simply doesn't provide the return necessary to provide for most people in retirement. I recently had a conversation with both my mom and my dad just this past week where we were just checking in on each other, wanted to see how everybody's doing, make sure everybody's safe and healthy with all of the events that we've had going on here in Utah, not just the outbreak, but we also had an earthquake here in the state. So just kind of checking in, seeing how everybody's doing, and they both actually mentioned, now they're divorced, so, and again, if mom, dad, you're watching this, I apologize for using you as an example, but they, in separate conversations with each of them, they both said, yeah, I'm doing healthy, I'm doing great, but I'm kind of forced with the reality that my retirement account is wiped out, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to look at the possibility of working for another couple of years, even though they're both planning to retire in the next year. So, 6 months ago, they thought they were going to retire at the end of 2020. Now, that might not happen until 2022, 2023. And so, it just kind of got me thinking, man, that's really crappy. That really sucks to be in that position where you're kind of at the mercy of whatever happens in the market. Now, I'm not saying that there's any one method or any one way that you could really go about avoiding this situation entirely, but there are different things that you can do to be prepared so that you don't end up in a situation like this and you're not forced to just, be relying on what happens in the stock market and what happens with your 401k account. And I think that goes without saying. This channel here is not for just your average person. I like to think outside the box. I like to think big, and I like to go big with everything that I do, whether it comes to making videos here, doing real estate, making investments, or just talking about money. It reminds me having those conversations why I'm so passionate about this and why I'm so passionate about sharing it with you guys and just spreading the word that, hey, you need to be prepared. You need to go out and produce multiple streams of income so that you can be ready for retirement, you can give back, and you can live your best life possible. If that sounds like you guys, make sure to click the subscribe button here on the channel. If you want to talk and learn more about what it's like to invest in real estate, talk about money, and be open about this stuff, right? And be transparent about what's going on and how you can really elevate to that next level. I look at money the same way a lot of people look at other professions or hobbies that they're really good at. Money is one of those things that you can get really good at if you stay focused on it and if you actually put in time to learn more about it. It's the same way as if you look at sports or if you look at a hobby, right? If you put a lot of time into getting better at a sport or getting better at an instrument, playing an instrument, or learning a new language, right? The more time you put into it, the better you're gonna get, and money is no different. So if that's you guys, subscribe to the channel and let's get into a couple problems that I have with the 401k system. I think the biggest problem that I actually have with the 401k system is that you get little to no control over what actually happens with your money. You're basically putting it into the system and there's a plan in place as to how and when your money's going to be invested, and they'll give you numbers as to what you can, likely expect for a return on that, and there's no guarantee to it. You're basically just handing your money over to somebody who you hope is going to manage it effectively and be able to produce a return for you. I think that's my biggest beef with this system, is that you're not in control of it, right? I think for most of us, we're kind of in a position where, a lot of times if we want something done the right way, if we want it done the way that we would do it, we need to take responsibility for that, and money's no different. The second problem that I've got with the 401k system is that it's slow. You know, I've heard this so many times where if you put $100 into your account or $200 a month, you can be a millionaire in 40 years. And that sounds great, but I don't want to be a millionaire in 40 years. I want to be a millionaire in 10 years, or let's make it 5, right? What is the quick way to get to that next level? How can I do that faster? If you change your thinking to kind of look at it this way and figure out how can I make this happen sooner, you'll realize that the 401k is probably not your best bet. It's extremely hard to get to that millionaire status in a 401k just because of how much you can contribute to it and how slow it actually is to build and gain returns. You know, when I look at this, I actually compare it to the way that I've been able to produce $2,500 a month in net cash flow from my rental properties in less than 5 years. If you missed that video about how I've created passive income in my life that's thousands of dollars every single month, I'll link to it right up here and down in the description box. So make sure to go check that out when you've got a minute. But like I said, I've been comparing this to how I produced $2,500 a month in net real estate cash flow income in just 5 years or slightly less. When I compare this to how I would have been able to do that in a 401k, I don't even know. It probably would have taken me 10, 15, even 20 years to produce enough money in the account that I would actually be getting returns like that on a monthly basis. So real estate or even other methods of growing your income and growing your wealth can be much quicker than a 401k. So for me, it's just too slow. And that kind of leads us right into problem number 3, which is that the returns are just too low. You know, when you look at the stock market or you look at your 401k, they'll say, oh yeah, you can get, 7% a year, 8% a year. And that's great. It can provide that steady, consistent return when you look at it from a long-term perspective. But for me, that's just too low. When I look at real estate, I'm looking for at least a 15% cash on cash return. Sometimes I get up to 40%. Sometimes it's even infinite. I've had real estate deals where I've been able to pull all my money back out, still own the income producing asset, and produce monthly cash flow every single month. So for 7 or 8%, that just doesn't really interest me. And I'm not saying that, hey, I don't have money in the stock market. I do, because I think that there's benefits as kind of more of a short-term investment, but I am planning to move that money into real estate as soon as I'm able to. So the return is really just too low for it to be a quick way to actually, build wealth and build passive income in my life. And there's going to be people who argue, well, you can get your company to match it. Whatever you put in, you're going to get your company to match that, and it's basically free money. And that's true. I think for most people, you should probably take advantage of that if you've got the option to do so, but you shouldn't rely on that as your only method of building wealth because the returns overall are just too slow. When you compare it to other investment vehicles, you'll actually see that the returns are still quite low. Now, I don't want it to seem like I'm just totally bagging on the stock market and that I think it's a terrible investment, because I think it's actually a very important part of the US economy, and there's obviously a lot of money that can be made using the stock market, but I don't think that those people are making it through the 401k system. I want to provide a little example for you guys to look at just to kind of change the way that you look at investing, look at wealth building, and look at getting to that next level for building passive income or building your retirement or whatever the case may be for you individually. If you were to approach somebody who's acquired massive amounts of wealth, I'm talking, millions of dollars, not just 1 million, but millions of dollars, 5 million, 10 million, or even more, and you approached them and said, hey, did you make your money using a 401k? They're almost certainly going to tell you no. I know a lot of people who have reached this level, and not one of them will tell you that the 401k was the method of how they attained the wealth that they have. They're either going to tell you that they had a business, they invested in real estate. Perhaps they'll even tell you that they used the stock market, using options or something like that to build their true wealth. But I can almost guarantee that they're not going to tell you that a 401k was one of the main factors to how they were able to build the wealth that they actually have. And because of this, I think that this is why you should look at thinking bigger. Look beyond the 401k and try to figure out other ways to build that wealth. Don't just rely on the 401k system because it's not going to get you there. You need to figure out how to build a high income. You need to figure out how to build a business, or you need to figure out how to invest in real estate to get to that next level. All of these people who have become ultra successful are going to tell you that those are the main things that they used to get to where they're at. And if they had a high income or they used a business to acquire their wealth, these aren't the people who have built businesses that you've heard of like Facebook or Google or Amazon. on, right? These are the mom and pop people who built that successful restaurant down on Main Street. These are the people who own 7-Eleven franchises in your city. It doesn't have to be a major business to acquire massive amounts of wealth. You can have something local that can still be very successful and allow you to get to that level. That's what we're all about here. We're all about thinking bigger, thinking outside the box, and thinking about how to get beyond just our average retirement methods of the 401k or the Roth IRA, right? We're looking at different options. So my recommendation for you would be to think outside the box a little bit and get 2 different investment vehicles that you can use towards your retirement planning, whether it be the stock market and real estate, or it's real estate and business, or it's a stock market and business, whatever that combination may be. Figure out 2 different places that you can put money into to start building your retirement plan so that you're not stuck in a situation where the stock market crashes, all of your money's in a 401k or an IRA, and you're stuck figuring out how to work for a couple more years or for the rest of your life just so you can retire. That's not the position you want to be in, and I want to help you get there. So as mentioned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so you can learn more about, investing in real estate, talking about money, and being more transparent about all those things so that you can live an amazing life. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram at @UtahRealEstate_. I'd love to see you over there as well. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.